ash was often collected and washed in a process called ablution, which was intended to cleanse it of lingering residues, both physical and spiritual. Following calcination and ablution, the metal would undergo dissolution in a liquid, often vinegar, wine, or a specific acidic preparation designed to break down its structure entirely. This stage symbolized death and dissolution of the ego, or the material form, making way for rebirth. The solution would then be filtered and distilled, separating volatile elements from fixed ones. This process required both patience and precision, as the goal was to preserve the essential spirit or soul of the metal while removing its corrupt exterior. Coagulation followed as a final step, where the purified metal was reconstituted, ideally in a more perfected and noble form. This stage symbolized resurrection or spiritual rebirth, where the base matter had now been elevated closer to the state of gold, which was considered the ideal form of metallic life. In some variations of Astonis's procedures, a tincture of powder, what later alchemists would call the Philosopher's Stone, was added to assist or finalize the transformation. Throughout the process, practitioners were instructed to observe strict purity, both physically and spiritually. Ritual fasting, meditation, and invocations of divine names or cosmic forces were often performed alongside the chemical work. Astonis emphasized that the alchemist must be morally upright and spiritually focused, or else the matter would not respond correctly. The purification of metals was not just about altering physical properties. It was about cooperating with the hidden intelligence of nature to bring about transformation on all levels. Astonis's teachings reflect a deep-rooted belief in the principle of correspondence between cosmic and material processes. In his view, the universe was a living, interconnected whole, and the same forces that govern the heavens also operated within the earth and its substances. This belief is captured in the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, which appears frequently in later alchemical texts, but its conceptual foundation can be traced to thinkers like Astonis. He taught that every transformation of the material plane mirrored the larger rhythms of the patterns of the cosmos. In his system, metals were not merely inanimate materials, but embodiments of celestial influences. Each metal was associated with a planetary body. Gold was the sun, silver was the moon, iron was Mars, copper was Venus, tin was Jupiter, lead was Saturn, and quicksilver was Mercury. These correspondents were not symbolic in a modern sense, but were believed to be real, binding relationships. The physical qualities of metals, such as color, density, or malleability, reflected the spiritual characteristics of their planetary rulers. When an alchemist worked with these materials, they were in effect working with the energies of the cosmos in condensed matter or material form. In condensed material form. The processes of calcination, dissolution, sublimation, and coagulation that Astonis described were not just chemical techniques, but steps that mimicked the cycles of birth, death, decay, and rebirth that govern both nature and the heavens. Just as stars are born, age, and collapse into new forms. So too could matter be broken down and remade into a higher state. By understanding and replicating these divine patterns, the alchemists aligned themselves with the natural laws that underpinned all of creation. Astonis believed that the same intelligence that moved the stars and planets also lived within the smallest grain of matter. This led to a view of nature as not only alive, but also purposeful. The transformation of lead into gold was seen as the fulfillment of a latent destiny written into the very essence of the lead. In this sense, alchemy was not manipulation, but revelation, revealing the divine order that already existed within matter. He also taught that human beings, as microcosms of the universe, could achieve a similar transformation through spiritual discipline. The purification and elevation of metals was paralleled by the purification of the soul. Just as gold represented the most perfect state of matter, the enlightened soul represented the most perfect state of the human being. The alchemists, through inner work and outer labor, sought to mirror the cosmos within themselves, achieving harmony between the macrocosm and the microcosm. Astonis's vision of alchemy thus blurred the boundaries between science, magic, and religion. The furnace was a miniature universe. The metals were starborn, and each transformation was a reenactment of cosmic truth. His belief in the correspondence between cosmic and material processes formed the foundation for a spiritual science that saw no division between the heavens above and the matter below, only a unified order waiting to be unveiled through wisdom, purity, and reverence. Astonis's teachings included a strong emphasis on the role of divine intermediaries, spiritual guidance, and sacred rituals in the alchemical process. For him, the practice of alchemy was not merely a physical art of transforming metals, but a spiritual discipline that required the cooperation of higher intelligence or intelligences. These divine intermediaries were believed to inhabit a realm between the earth and the celestial, acting as messengers, guardians, or facilitators of transformation. They were often envisioned as spirits, angels, or cosmic intelligence associated with the planets and elements. In Astonis's worldview, the forces that govern nature were not blind nor mechanical, but animated by spiritual beings. Each element and celestial body had a presiding intelligence or daemon whose favor and guidance were essential to any successful transformation. Before engaging in any major operation, the alchemist was expected to seek the blessing of these beings through ritual, invocation, or purification. The act of transmutation, especially the quest for the Philosopher's Stone, or the perfection of base metals into gold, was considered impossible without divine favor. Alchemical work was thus as much a devotional practice as it was an experimental craft. Ritual played a central role in this process. These rituals were designed to align the alchemist's intentions with the will of the cosmos, and to prepare both the practitioner and the materials for spiritual elevation. They could include offerings of incense, prayers, chanting, or sacred names, and periods of fasting and purification. Some rituals were timed according to astrological configurations, especially during favorable planetary conjunctions, since Astonis believed these moments allowed for stronger influence from the divine intermediaries. The workspace itself was often consecrated, and tools were crafted or prepared with symbolic meaning, reinforcing the sanctity of the process. Astonis also emphasized the need for spiritual guidance, either from a master or through divine relation or revelation. The complexities of alchemy in his teachings could not be understood through reason alone. True knowledge was believed to come through illumination, an inner awakening.